The fire goes out before dawn. You wake up because the cold gets inside your bones before your mind catches up. The elder nearest the pit did intend it. He never does. That's not his job anymore. That's yours if you want to eat today. You don't ask questions. You get up. Level 1. The unnamed. You have no title. You are not a hunter, not a warrior, not even a full member of the band. You are simply one of the mouths they haven't decided to stop feeding yet. There are 31 people in this group. You know exactly where you rank among them. Below the dogs. Your job is to carry. You carry the hides when the band moves, you carry the meat back from the kill site when the hunters return, you carry water in a stitched bladder that leaks at one corner. So by the time you reach camp, your left leg is cold and wet every single time. Nobody taught you to do any of this. You watched. You copied. You survived the first winter by sleeping between two older boys who didn't like you, but liked warmth more than they hated you. You learn fast that there are two ways to exist at this level. Be useful or be invisible. You are too small to be useful in any way that matters, so you make yourself invisible. You don't make eye contact with the hunters, you move around the edge of things, you eat what's left when it's left after the men have finished. Some nights there is nothing left. You learn to tell the difference between real hunger and the hunger that will pass. You are 7 years old. The world is enormous and mostly trying to kill you, and the only thing standing between you and it is a group of people who barely know your name. You make sure the fire never goes out again. Level 2. The runner. By your 12th year, you are fast. Not strong, not skilled with a spear, but fast enough that the lead hunter, a wide-shouldered man with a scar across his jaw, stops one afternoon and watches you chase down a rabbit on foot just to see how close you can get. You don't catch it, but you come closer than any boy your age should get. He gives you a task the next morning. Scout the eastern ridge before the band moves. Come back with a count of anything you see. Tracks, herds, smoke from other fires, anything. You run 6 miles in the dark before sunrise. You come back with information about a small auroch herd grazing 2 valleys east, a muddy water hole near the basin, and a set of human footprints you didn't recognize. 3 men moving north, one of them dragging something heavy. He listens to everything you say without interrupting. Then he tells you to eat with the hunters tonight. You sit at the edge of the fire circle. Nobody speaks to you, but nobody tells you to leave either. That is everything. You start to understand that in this world, information is shelter. Knowing something someone else doesn't is the closest thing to power a boy with no kills to his name can hold. You run faster. Level 3. The hunter. You make your first kill at 14. A young doe separated from the herd near the northern tree line. Your spear hits low, behind the shoulder. Not a clean kill. You follow the blood trail for nearly a mile before it falls. You stand over it for a long time. Not from pride, from something quieter than pride. From the recognition that the world just shifted slightly in your direction. You carry it back yourself, the whole thing. By the time you reach camp, your shoulders are raw and your legs are shaking, but you do not put it down. The band eats well that night. The scar-jawed hunter doesn't say anything to you, but when the meat is divided, your portion is cut before the woman's. That is a language you understand perfectly. By 16, you are a full hunter. You move with the group of 5 men who take the dangerous kills, the ones that require coordination, patience, and the willingness to stand your ground when something large and fast is moving towards you. You learn the codes. You don't break the line. You don't take a shot that risks another man's position. You share what you bring down. You don't eat before the others when you're on a hunt together. These rules are never spoken out loud. You just know them. Everyone does. Breaking them costs you more than the kill is worth. Level 4. The blade. At 20, they give you the flint knife with the wrapped bone handle. Not gifted, earned. You took it off a raider from the western wastelands who came into camp while most of the hunters were 3 days east. There were only 4 of you. He brought 6. You don't think about that night in clean terms anymore. You just remember that when it was over, your band was still alive and his wasn't. You notice something change in how people look at you after that. The hunters nod first when you approach. The elder, a thin woman with gray-streaked hair and the mind like a trap, starts asking your opinion before the band makes large decisions about where to move next. This is new. You have opinions. You didn't know that until someone started asking for them. You begin to understand that violence is not the currency of power here. Violence is just a door. What's behind the door is reputation. Your reputation now says, "This man held the line." That sentence is worth 40 kills. Level 5. The Named Man. The band starts calling you by a name that isn't your birth name. It translates roughly to steady ground. It is not flattery. It is a role assignment. When the band is uncertain, they look at you. When a decision causes fracture, do we move south before the cold comes? Do we trade with the river people? Do we push back against the encroachment on our hunting grounds? They watch your face before they form their own opinion. You carry this carefully. You make one wrong call in your third year of this status. You read the weather wrong, kept the band in a valley 2 days too long, and the cold came hard before you reached the high ground. Nobody dies, but 2 children get sick and an elder loses 2 toes. They don't strip your name, but you feel the slight shift in the air for months afterwards. You learn that respect is not a thing you own, it is a thing they lend you, and they're watching the whole time to decide whether to call it back. You never misread weather again. You don't sleep through full nights anymore. You learn to feel pressure change in the air 3 hours before the sky shows it. Some knowledge only comes from almost costing someone their life. Level 6. The Speaker. The scar-jawed hunter dies the winter you are 27. Not in a raid, not on a hunt. He walks into the river to cross to the far bank one gray morning and the current takes him. Just like that. 30 years of surviving everything the world could throw at a man, and the river gets him on a Tuesday. The band needs a new lead voice. There is no formal process, no election, no ceremony. It happens in the way all real power transitions happen in small groups, gradually, and then all at once. People start arriving at your fire in the evenings with questions. Where do we bury him? Where do we go in spring? The river people sent a man to speak. What do you want to say back? You answer each one. By the end of the first moon cycle after his death, you are the one everyone brings their problems to. You didn't ask for this. That's the first thing you notice about real authority. It doesn't ask your permission. It just arrives and waits for you to accept the weight of it. You accept the weight. You stop sleeping through full nights, not from fear, from the constant low-level awareness that 31 lives are in the calculations you make every time you decide where to move, what to eat, who to trust, and what threats to take seriously. The math is never clean. Level 7. The Architect. By your mid-30s, the band is 53 people. You absorbed a smaller group whose leader died in a predator attack. You didn't do it through force. You did it by offering them water rights to the basin spring during the dry months in exchange for hunting contribution and 2 of their young men joining your warriors. It was a negotiation. You didn't know you could negotiate until you did it. Now you do it constantly, with the river people, with the rich clan to the north, with the strange group of settlers who arrived 4 seasons ago and have started building permanent structures near the southern flatlands. A thing you watch with deep unease because you don't yet have language for what it means, only the sense that it will change something you can't yet name. You speak to 3 other band leaders now as near equals. Near equals. You know exactly where the lines are. You help draw them. You are no longer on most of the hunts. Your body can still do it, but your time is worth more solving the problems that would fracture the group if left unsolved. Other men feed your family. That is the quiet signal. That is how you know you've crossed into something different. The thing nobody tells you about this level is the loneliness. You are surrounded by people every hour of every day, and there is not a single one of them you can speak to honestly about the fear. Because the fear is the thing they are all paying you to carry so they don't have to. You carry it. You don't speak about it. Level 8. The Old Stone.
You are somewhere past 40. You don't track it precisely. Age is a concept that becomes less important when you've survived long enough that younger men look at you the way you used to look at things you didn't fully understand. The band has 112 people now. 3 of the men who lead sections of it were born after you took charge. They have never known another structure. To them, this is simply how things are. That is a strange feeling. You sit at the high point of the eastern ridge on clear mornings before the camp wakes. You watch the flatlands. You watch the smoke from the settler structures to the south. They are 20 now where there were 6. Their way of moving is different. Anchored, deliberate, slow. They are doing something you still don't have full language for, but that you understand in your marrow. They are trying to own the ground itself. You have spent your life learning to read the ground, to move with it, to take from it and thank it and leave it. The feeling you carry now isn't pride. It isn't fear. It is the cold, clear weight of knowing. Knowing what was paid, what was taken, what was left in you by decades of choices that looked like leadership from the outside and felt like sustained sacrifice from the inside. The men around you think you have certainty. You have learned to perform certainty so completely that it became a second skin. Underneath it, you have always had only the next decision and the quiet prayer that it was less wrong than the alternative. You make those decisions alone now. That is the final rule of power nobody tells you when you're carrying water with cold, wet legs at the edge of someone else's fire. The higher you go, the smaller the room. Not smaller in territory, smaller in truth. Fewer people allowed inside it. By the end, the room holds only you. Somewhere at the southern edge of camp, a boy with no name carries a hide bundle twice his weight towards the morning fire. He's watching the hunters, copying how they move, learning what matters. He thinks if he works hard enough, if he pays attention, if he survives the winters and earns enough trust, something good is waiting at the end. He is not wrong, but he doesn't yet know what good costs. He doesn't know that the fire never stops asking to be fed. He doesn't know that every step up is a room you can't return from. He will learn. The system continues. It always continues.